Alright, JR, we've got good temps, so we're ready to start taxiing.
Okay.
Now you probably noticed right off the bat, we're virtually blind looking straight ahead in this airplane, which is fairly typical of a lot of the World War II tail draggers with the big radial engines. So when we taxi, we've got to S-turn or weave back and forth in order to see where we're going. Kissimmee Ground, Texan 1 coming out of Warbirds for 1 hour with the numbers.
Texan 1, Kissimmee Ground, taxi runway 6 via taxiway Charlie Delta Bravo.
Charlie Delta Bravo going to runway 6, Texan 1.
Kind of like driving a car with
Yeah, with the hood open?
Yeah.
Yeah. This last hangar down here has got the two P-51 Mustangs, Crazy Horse and Crazy Horse 2, which were modified back in the 1980s into full dual-control two-seat airplanes. And then they've also got an Air Force T-6G in there.
Do they actually let you fly those things?
Yeah, you can. Mostly they do training for Mustang owners.
Yeah.
It's about $3,800 an hour.
Wow. I'll have to wait a while for that.
Yeah. Yeah, you could buy a 5-hour checkout in one of these for that. But if you own a Mustang, you've got to get the training somewhere, so this is one of the few places in the country where you can come and get that training. This airport was a training base during World War II. It was a Kissimmee Army airfield. And it was just a little grass municipal airport before that. So from 1940 to 1942, the Army Corps of Engineers came out and laid out all the concrete blacktop. And then this was used for training the night fighter pilots who were flying the P-70 Nighthawk, which was a version of the A-20 Havoc, built by Douglas, and then later the Northrop P-61 Black Widow. And those airplanes had all sorts of sophisticated radar equipment in the nose to hunt down targets at night. And because of that radar equipment, that was all classified. Oh, so therefore all the training in the aircraft and everything that went on here was classified as well. So this was sort of like an Area 51 during World War II.
Oh, hush, hush.
Yeah, in fact, if you look up Kissimmee Army Airfield or anything about this airport, you'll find next to nothing in books or in the internet. And that's because they just didn't write about it. Nobody took any photographs. And so the history of this airport more or less got buried and forgotten. Alright, we're going to do our engine run-up right here. And it's fairly standard for a piston engine airplane. We're going to start at 1600 RPM and cycle the propeller. And since this is the first flight of the day, we're going to give it 3 good cycles. So we get some nice fresh warm oil circulating up through the propeller hub. And while the propeller cycles, we'll note the manifold pressure goes up. And then the oil pressure will dip just a little bit. There we go. Now I'll do the mag check at 2000 RPM. And then finally I'll check the engine-driven hydraulic pump. Temps, pressures, everything looks good. Pull the engine back to idle, check the idle. And flaps are up, trims are both set, fuel's on the left tank, mixture, propeller control full forward, magnetometer on both battery, radio master on, altimeter is set. Cameras check, video system is rolling.
Sequencing.
Radios are set. And we are ready. You ready up front?
Yep, ready.
All right. We've got 4 flight schools based here, flying out of Kissimmee.
Let me extend you down. I'll call your base. I got a couple of.
On a nice day like today, it can get pretty busy.
Yeah.
So where are you from?
Over by Seattle.
Oh, okay.
Cessna 9343 Kissimmee Tower, right down departure to the southwest. Short delays approved. Clear for takeoff runway 6. Cessna on 1 mile final.
Clear for takeoff, right down with departure to the south approval. Short south approved, Cessna 9343.
Cessna 536 Lima, the departing at Cessna. Priority arrival is taking runway now.
And Texan 1's holding short.
That's PR number 2 here.
Pressure for standby 1. That's for Cessna 48284. There's a traffic, Cessna departed priority arrival. Sorry about that for 536 Lima.
With the traffic inside, but floor.
So what do you do out in Seattle?
Oh, I don't know, work in the office, vice president of, we buy and sell steel pipe.
Cessna 536 Lima, you can turn your base turn now. You're cleared touch and correction, clear touch and go. I'll be departing at T6 prior to your arrival.
Clear for touch and go, Cessna 536.
A little bit different climate down here.
Yeah, no mountains.
Yeah. Well, we have one mountain. It's 300 feet high, but you can't tell that it's a mountain as it rises up pretty slowly.
I actually live in Wenatchee. It's east of Seattle, over the mountains.
Uh-huh.
Kind of in the mountains, actually.
And to your right is in the pattern. Just make a turn to the southwest outside the pattern, please.
So if you go anywhere, you got to climb out of the mountains.
Yeah.
Terran 9287 Echo is midfield, 45 for 06.
39287, extending down. Show your phones on about a mile and a half straight in. Report of insight.
Looking for traffic and extending downwind for 9287 Echo.
There's the 48284 left turn on Delta, contact ground point 7.
Running left and going to ground, 48284, thank you.
Next 1, Kissimmee Tower, southwest departure. If you're free, clear for takeoff runway 6.
All right, clear for takeoff runway 6, Texan 1. All right, now if you want to slide your canopy closed.
39287, number 2 phone that says need clear touch and go. Runway 6.
Number 2, clear touch and go for 6, 9287 Echo. Kissimmee Tower, this is 142 November Delta, reporting the sound pits with the numbers inbound for full.
All right, here we go. We got just a touch of a crosswind from our left, but we're going to start with lots of right stick to counteract the torque.
Runway 6, 142 November Delta.
About 45 or so, we'll bring the tail up. Lift off at 80. Now we're going to accelerate to 100 miles per hour, and I'm going to retract the landing gear. All right, there, you've got the airplane. We're going to keep climbing right straight ahead at about 110. I'm going to pull the power back so we can pull the prop back. And when we hit 500 feet, we're going to start our turn to crosswind. There we go.
Be a left cross.
Right turn, sorry.
Right turn.
Yeah, right turn to the south. reduction to climb power. And we continue our turn to downwind, and we're just going to parallel the runway and go straight on out. And now we climb at about 120. See how nice and light the controls are on this airplane.
Yeah, I thought it'd be a lot heavier.
Yeah. It's the basic design requirement for this airplane was to have a fully combat-ready fighter plane that had a second seat for an instructor, as well as one that had it was built to be a little bit more robust to handle the training environment. And that was the basic design parameters for this airplane.
Kissimmee Tower, Piper 107 November Delta with you on the VOR DME approach.
Yeah, 107 November Delta, Kissimmee Tower, traffic 1 o'clock, less than a mile out to the...
So it was fully equipped.
Are you talking to him?
As was a fighter with 30 caliber machine guns. Hard points for bombs and rockets.
Right.
No, 107 November Delta, traffic less than a mile. Do you have him in sight at 2200?
107 November Delta has traffic in sight, keeping separation.
Roger. Did Orlando let you know about him before they put you on me?
Affirm.
Roger. Just report copy for me for 107 November Delta.
Report could be 107 November Delta.
I always thought of these as a trainer.
Well, that's what its role was as a trainer, but they wanted a fighter trainer. There were no two-seat fighters back during World War II. All the Mustangs, Spitfires, Corsairs, and whatnot were all single-seaters.
Section 1, button 3.
Section 1, so long.
There we go. And so that's why they needed this airplane to train those pilots and get them ready to make that transition into the single-seat fighters. So obviously to do that, they needed an airplane that flew and handled just like the fighters. The standard fitment was the 130 caliber in the right wing. You can see the panels down there on the leading edge of the wing, where the gun bay and the ammo locker were. And then 130 caliber on top of the cowling, with a synchronizer flying through or shooting through the propeller. And then optionally they could add a second cowl gun and then a left-mounted or left wing-mounted 30 caliber, as some countries did use this airplane as a frontline fighter. It was also used in the ground attack role. The French Air Force used these as a ground attack aircraft during the Indochina War, loaded with bombs, rockets, and then the 30 calibers.
And also the other plane in the hangar still had the gun out front.
Yep. Yeah, it still has the barrel on the cowl mounted. We've been looking for another set of barrels for the other two airplanes, but haven't run across any recently, so. The production on these airplanes was started in 1938. And it ran all the way till 1956. And by then they had produced some 17,000 of these airplanes. They were produced for the Navy, such as this airplane, which is an SNJ Texan. This is a Model 6. the T6 Texans for the Air Force, the Harvards for the export market, as well as Harvards were built in Canada under license. And then another version of this airplane was built down in Australia called the Wirraway, also under license. Alright, let's make a left turn towards the south. Now we're out clear of the Orlando Class B airspace to the west. Now we can turn south and climb, and then we'll head into the practice area. There we go, that heading's fine right there. You get a good idea what the Central Florida landscape is like, especially off to our left. All the lakes, the forest area, and then the big fields and pastures. Those fields and pastures are used primarily back in the 1800s and the early 1900s as cattle ranches.
Oh, I just never thought they had cattle out here.
Yeah, it's one of the largest beef-producing states in the country, in fact. Not far behind Texas or Kansas. And in fact, the largest cattle ranch in the country is in Florida. Near Leesburg, larger than any out in Texas.
Only trouble is no mountains. Know where you are.
Yeah. Well, we've got a couple lakes that are real good landmarks. This one to the left of us at about 10 to 11 o'clock looks like a giant horse's head. Looking down on the top of the horse's head. That's probably one of the biggest landmarks out here. And then the lakes due south of it, sort of T-shaped, is that's where our practice area starts, right over the middle of that lake and goes south. Off to the right is Winter Haven, where all the small lakes are, and you can see their airport there right between all those lakes there.
Yeah.
That was a satellite airport or an auxiliary training base for the Bartow Army Airfield, which is south of that about 10 miles. And Bartow was used for training the Mustang pilots during World War II. So after a cadet had completed his training in the Texan, and if he was selected to go on to fly Mustangs, then he would come down to Bartow, and that's where he would get checked out in the single-seater there. And the auxiliary training fields would circle the primary training field, and that way, that's where the students would go practice their takeoffs and landings rather than having everybody at the same time in the traffic pattern at the main base there at Bartow.
Oh.
So just about every airport in the state of Florida was either an air base or an auxiliary base. And all the bases out here in Florida were used by the Air Force, the Navy, as well as the Royal Air Force had several training bases out here in Florida as well. Oh, let's see, if you start a right turn, and you'll see right above our wingtip in this lake, right just behind the wingtip, go ahead a little bit steeper turn. See the bright yellow J3 Cub there in the middle of the lake.
Yeah.
Over there at Winter Haven is the Jack Brown seaplane base, where they do quite a bit of training. Pilots come from all over the world to train there, and that's one of their Cubs.
Oh yeah, I read about that in one of the flying magazines.
Yeah.
That's where it is.
Yeah, they've been pretty quiet the last couple of months. I haven't seen any airplanes out. But just as we're going to be getting into our busy season here, they should be as well.
Busier during the winter?
Yeah, the fall, winter, and spring is when we're busy. The summer is pretty quiet. So we've used this summer to take our number 2 airplane apart and do an IRAN on it.
Oh. There's another airport out over there, huh?
Yep, that's Bartow, the big one there. Yep, that's the Bartow Army Air Training Base. So during World War II, that was used for training the Mustang pilots, and then after World War II, all the Texans from the area got shipped over there, and it became a very large primary training base using the Texans, and then they were phased out when the T-28s came out. All right, let's make a left turn. We'll head right over the center of that lake there. We're well clear of the Orlando Class B. And we can level off at 8,000 feet, it'll be fine. $8,000 will be fine, yeah. Boy, it's just beautiful out this morning.
Yeah, it is nice and smooth.
And there's another airport down below us to the right at about 2 o'clock. That's another auxiliary training base for Bartow. That's Lake Wales. And they're getting set up this weekend for a giant scale model airplane event. And when I say giant, I mean like half scale, third scale.
Oh, the bigger ones.
The monstrous airplanes. The smallest airplane allowed to fly in that event is 35 pounds.
Wow.
So this is the first year they're doing it here. It's quite popular in the United Kingdom, but this is a first for us here in the U.S. So we've got quite a few participants, I believe, coming in from the UK with their monster airplanes. And in fact, I think we're going to take our the Casset, the little red and white race plane, in the hangar down there and park it, because it's about the same size as many of the large-scale model airplanes.
I noticed it was pretty small.
Yep. Yeah, that just raced at Reno this year. In fact, it's been racing on and off at Reno since the early 1970s.
You'd probably have trouble getting in and out of that, wouldn't you?
Doing what?
You'd probably have trouble getting in and out of that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, actually, when we got it, we completely rebuilt the canopy just so that we could fit in it. Now, I can't wear a parachute when I fly it, and it is a tight squeeze, but it's a fun little airplane to fly. All right, while I pull the power back to cruise, you're welcome. Let's go ahead and do some S-turns. You get a feel for the airplane, and at the same time, we'll look for other traffic. See most of the orange groves down here, all the roads and access roads run north, south, east, and west, which work real well for orienting ourselves while we're up here.
Yeah, real light on the controls.
Yep, and she's got Fry's type aileron, so you can see it also takes very little rudder to coordinate the turns. And that was an important trait for a fighter plane, because in order for the gun sight to work and for you to shoot straight, you needed to have the airplane in coordinated flight. So you don't want an airplane that you're struggling with to keep that ball centered. Have you flown any aerobatics before?
Oh, we did a couple barrel rolls when I went for riding one of these.
Okay. Well, the way we're going to do the aerobatics is I will demonstrate a maneuver for you, and then I'll hand the controls over to you and let you fly it and do the very same maneuver.
Okay.
We're going to start off with a real basic maneuver, a wing over, which is similar to a lazy 8. And we got our power set, mixture is set. We're all set up for cruise. The area is clear. Are you ready?
I'm I'm ready.
All right, I've got the airplane.
Okay.
Now you're welcome to follow me on the controls. The first thing we're going to do for just about every maneuver is we're going to lower the nose and we're going to dive for airspeed. We're looking for about 165 miles an hour. And we're going to bring the nose up. As it comes up above the horizon, we're going to start a left climbing turn, bringing that nose up nice and high. And we get up here towards the top, we'll just hold the controls steady. Nose will come back down. And then right stick to level our wings. And we'll pull back on the stick and bring the nose back up to the horizon. And there we go, there's the wing over. All right, Jerry, you've got the airplane. Now it's your turn.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready. First thing is nose down, 165 miles an hour. There we go, then pull back on the stick. We'll bring that nose up above the horizon. And then we'll start a gentle climbing turn to the left. Keep bringing that nose up, slowing the airplane down. And then just hold a little bit of back pressure. And we'll let that nose slide on back down. And then right stick will level the wings and bring the nose back up to the horizon. Very good. All right, now how about one to the right? So same thing, whenever you're ready, nose down to 165. Very good, we'll bring the nose up. And we'll start a right turn. And you're going to have a little bit of back pressure through the whole maneuver, a little more roll, a little more aileron. And you're going to keep your back pressure. There we go, good. Excellent. How's that feel?
Oh, okay.
All right, let's do a left turn towards the south, and we'll set up for our next maneuver, which is an aileron roll. For the aileron roll, we're going to dive the airplane to 170 miles an hour, and then we'll bring the nose up about 30 degrees above the horizon, and then roll the airplane. Are you ready?
Okay.
All right, I've got the airplane. Again, you can follow me on the controls. All right, here we go. Nose coming down. About 20 to 25 degrees below the horizon works just fine. And there's our 170. We're going to bring the nose up. And then we're just going to apply full left stick, and we're going to roll the airplane right around. And there we go. All right, how was that?
Not bad.
All right, now it's your turn. All right, so whenever you're ready, nose down to 170 miles per hour. There we go, we'll hold that right there. There's 170. Now pull back on the stick, bring that nose up about 30 degrees above the horizon. Keep bringing it up, nice and high, nice and high. There you go, now full left stick. Very good. Now bring that nose back up. All right, very good. All right, now we'll set up, we'll do one to the right. Now to roll it to the right, since you're pulling with your arm, it's a little bit awkward. So you can use two hands on the stick if you want, or just realize that you're going to have a little bit harder pull, pulling that stick all the way over to the right. And plus the engine torque is rolling us to the left, so we're also fighting the engine torque when we do a roll to the right. So whenever you're ready, same thing, nose down 170 miles an hour.
Okay.
Right there is good. Hold that nose attitude. We'll let the speed build up. There's our 170. Now we'll bring that nose up about 30 degrees above the horizon. Bring it up nice and high. Bring it up. And now full right stick. Full right stick, that's about a quarter. There you go, that's about half. All right, good. Now see how low the nose is? Yeah. While we were inverted, you were pulling back on the stick just a little bit, pulled the nose down. All right, let's turn the speed into altitude. Go ahead and zoom up. All right, let's turn to the left towards the east, and we'll set up for a loop. Now for the loop, I'm going to dive the airplane to 185 miles an hour, and then we're going to pull back, put about 3 Gs on the airplane as we go right straight up and over the top of the loop. Are you ready?
Okay.
All right, I've got the airplane. All right, nose coming down, 185 miles an hour. So put the nose right about there, about 20 to 25 degrees below the horizon. Hold that, let the speed build up. There's 180 and there's 185. Now we'll pull back, put about 3 Gs on us, pushing us into the seat. As we go straight up, we're going to look to the left wingtip. And we'll go over the top. And as we come straight down, we're going to hold the stick back, let the speed and the G's build back up. Right through our own wake turbulence there. And there we go. All right, Jerry, you got the airplane? All right, whenever you're ready, it's your turn.
Okay. I just hold the stick back when you go over the top?
That's correct. Yep, you let back pressure all the way through.
Okay.
So whenever you're ready, nose down to 185. And as our speed builds up, it'll take just a touch of left rudder, and the nose should be down just a little bit more. There we go, good, right there. Now there's 185. Now 3G pull. Pull a little bit harder. There you go, good. Looking to the left wing. Now we'll relax just a touch over the top. Beautiful. Excellent. Now we'll turn the speed back into altitude. Good. How did that feel?
That felt okay.
All right. Excellent. All right. Let's turn to the left. And now we'll set up for the barrel roll. The barrel roll is more or less going to be putting the loop and the roll together at the same time. So we're going to be pulling back on the stick and then rolling the airplane at the as well. All right, are you ready?
Okay.
All right, I've got the airplane. All right, nose coming down. 170 miles an hour is our entry speed. So here we go, there's 165, 170. So we're going to start by pulling back on the stick. As the nose comes up, we're going to also roll the airplane at the same time. So I'm pulling back and rolling, stick is back and to the left. And it makes us go through the sky like in a big giant corkscrew. And there we go. Okay. All right, all yours. And whenever you're ready, nose down to 170. Go. We'll pull back on the stick, just like on the loop entry. Keep pulling back, pull a little bit harder, a little bit harder. There you go. Now also roll to the left. Very good. All right, how about one to the right? So we need a little bit more speed. There we go. Bring that nose up. Pull a little bit harder. You got a little more back pressure and then roll. No. Yep. very good. All right, now let's climb back up to 7,000 feet. Now those are the positive G building block maneuvers, the wing over, the aileron roll, the loop, and the barrel roll. And from those maneuvers, we build up all the rest of the more advanced positive G maneuvers. And we can do a climbing turn to the left and point our nose back to the south as we're coming up. So we're going to start with an Immelmann, which is combining half of a loop with half of a roll. This was a maneuver developed during World War I by a pilot named Max Immelmann, who was flying Fokker Eindeckers, as a quick way to come underneath an opponent and then quickly zoom up and get right on his tail. We can use about 110 to 100 for climb speed since we're back at cruise power. That'll bring us up a little bit quicker. Alright. Alright, are you ready?
Okay.
Alright, I've got the airplane. Here we go. Nose coming down. Since we're starting with a loop, we need 185 miles an hour. So here we go, nose is down, speed's coming up. And from 185, we're going to bring the nose up. And as we come over the top of the loop, we'll stop the loop and we're going to roll the airplane upright. And there we go, heading out the opposite direction off the top of the loop. All right, you've got the airplane back.
Does that look easy?
Actually, it is a pretty easy maneuver. We just got to be real gentle with the controls over the top because we're very close to stall speed. That's really the only trick to the Immelmann.
180?
185. There you go. Now 3G pull. Pull a little bit harder, so we keep our speed. There you go. And now roll her upright. All right, good. Now you can see that little bit of buffet. We were hitting just a bit of an accelerated stall right before we started rolling the airplane.
Yeah, felt that.
And you can see this airplane, she gives you warning. There's no stall warning horn like a modern airplane. And the buffet that we felt there will occur just before the onset of the rest of the wing stalling, I should say. But if you just feel the airplane and you feel that little bit of buffet, all you got to do is just release a little bit of back pressure and it'll go away. Just reduce that angle of attack just a tiny bit. So she's a real forgiving and real predictable airplane.
Even if you're upside down?
In any attitude, yep. It'll behave exactly the same. If you go a little bit farther into the stall, it'll generally drop the right wing. And then she'll, like in that situation from an accelerated stall, we'll basically do a big lazy snap roll to the right until you unstall the wing. In fact, it started to roll just a little bit to the right on the top of that loop from the accelerated stall, and then you continued it by rolling the airplane to the right, which was just fine. All right, let's point the nose to the south, so we'll turn to the right just a little bit. Now we're going to do the opposite of the Immelmann, which is called the split S. So we're going to do the half roll and then the half loop. All right, we'll straighten out right there. Now when we do a normal loop, we're just above stall speed as we coast over the top of that loop. When we come back down the back side of the loop, we're back up to about 180, 185 miles an hour. The point being, if we were to be rolled inverted right now at 140 miles an hour, most pilots' natural instinct is just to pull back, basically doing a half loop. So we would be at the top of a loop at 140, you can imagine what our speed would be coming out the bottom of that loop. We'd be up over red line of 240 miles an hour. So bad things happen when that occurs. So the point being, if you're at a higher speed, up towards, say, above a normal climbing speed, and you get rolled upside down by wake turbulence or something like that, you should roll the airplane back upright, not pull back and split S out of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, I've got the airplane. Now, so our entry speed for the split S is going to be about 80 miles an hour. So we're going to slow her right on down. So we'll just gently bring the nose up. Now, I prefer to roll to the left because we get a little bit crisper roll because the engine torque is helping us out at low speed. So we'll just slow her right on down. There's 90, 85. And here's 80 miles an hour, so we're going to roll it to the left, stop the roll, and then pull. So we had about 185 miles an hour coming out the bottom of that from an 80 mile an hour entry speed. So again, you can imagine if you started at 140, we'd have a pretty high speed there at the bottom. You've got the airplane. Right. All right, whenever you're ready, same thing. Yeah, that's plenty nose high right there, and there's your 80. So roll to the left. And we'll stop the roll and pull. There we go. About 195 on the exit speed there. All right, good. Let's turn the speed back into altitude. All right, very good. All right, now we're going to do a combination maneuver called a Cuban 8. The Cuban 8 is another combination of loops and rolls. This time we're going to do about 3/4 of a loop and then a half roll. Then do another 3/4 loop and half roll. And so it looks like two loops joined together and the sides. So from the ground, it looks like a big figure 8. Are you ready?
Okay.
All right, here we go. I've got the airplane. All right, again, since we're starting with a loop, we're going to start with 185 miles an hour. There we go. There's our 185. 3G pull. As we come over the top, we're going to let the nose come down about 45 degrees. We're going to stop the loop, roll the airplane upright. Now we're going to keep coming down on that 45-degree angle, back to 185. Up and over the top of the loop. Again, 45 and roll her upright. And there we go. All right, you've got the airplane. We'll continue this turn towards the east there. How was that?
Well, that was it. That was okay.
All right.
Super.
You see that one at air shows quite a bit. The Cuban 8, and then after this we'll do the reverse Cuban 8, which is another big air show type maneuver. All right, so whenever you're ready, since we're starting with a loop, we need 185 miles an hour. There we go. Up and over the top, we'll let the nose come down and stop the loop and roll. Alright, we'll hold the nose down, let the speed come up. you go. Now 3G pull. Pull a little bit harder. There you go. Keep pulling, keep pulling, keep pulling, keep pulling, keep pulling. All right, we got a little bit slow on the top there. We didn't quite get the nose back down. But that's all right, so we did more or less a barrel roll coming out of that, but we still got the idea. How you feeling?
Oh, doing okay.
All right, excellent. Let's, we'll climb back up to 7,000 again, and then we'll set up for the reverse Cuban 8. Boy, this air is just perfectly smooth today. I think the only turbulence up here is what we're creating.
Yeah, it is. Not many other planes out here.
No, this particular area is doesn't get very much traffic, particularly up here at altitude. Most of the traffic is down low. Typically tend to go out towards the coasts and then up and down the coast rather than flying through the center of the state. And then the Mustangs practice area is off our right wing out there towards Avon Park, where they have an arrangement to use the restricted airspace out there when it's the military's not using it. All right, let's turn to the right.
There we go. Up there?
Yep, that's good heading right there. All right, the reverse Cuban 8. We're going to start with 170 miles an hour. We're going to bring the nose up about 45 degrees, and we're going to fly a 45-degree upline. When the airplane slows to just below 100 miles per hour, we're then going to roll the airplane upside down, and then we're going to do the backside of a loop, coming out of the bottom of the loop, back up to that 45, and do the same thing again. So again, we're going to basically trace the Cuban 8, but backwards. Are you ready?
Okay.
All right, here we go. I've got the airplane. All right, so we'll give us a little bit extra speed, 170 miles an hour. Bring that nose up. All right, to draw our 45-degree upline, I'm going to look at the left wingtip. So I hold it, the chord line of the wing right at 45 degrees. And then at 100, we're going to roll the airplane upside down, stop the roll, and then we're going to pull through. As we come out the bottom, we'll bring that nose up to 45 degrees again. And we'll hold that as we slow down. And we'll roll the airplane. And there we go. All right, your airplane. Whenever you're ready. So about 170 miles an hour give us a good entry speed. There we go, we'll bring that nose up. There's our 45 degree, we'll hold that. And now roll to the left. good. Now I'll bring that nose up to 45 again. There we go, hold that 45. And roll to the left. All right, very good. All right, let's turn to the right, back towards the north. And now we're going to do a 4-point roll. This is a definitely one you see at air shows. And it's just a variation on the aileron roll. All right, there's a good heading right there. All right, JR, are you ready?
Okay.
All right, here we go. I've got the airplane. 170 miles an hour is our entry speed, same as the aileron roll. So from 170, I'm going to bring that nose up 30 degrees above the horizon. And then here we go. We're going to roll in 1, 2, 3, and 4. And there we go. All right, now it's your turn. So 170, whenever you're ready. Very good. A little bit higher, bring that nose up, 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 up. And now roll. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now right off the top of the 4-point roll, you were pulling back on the stick, and since we're inverted, that pulled the nose down. We want to keep neutral elevator pressure, and that'll keep that nose from coming down while we're going over the top of the aileron roll. All right. Well, that's the most all of the positive G aerobatics. We've done the wing over, the aileron roll, loop, and the barrel roll. Then we did the Immelman and the split S, the Cubanate, the reverse Cubanate, and the 4-point roll. Out of those, which one do you think was your favorite?
I don't know, probably the Millie Man.
The which one?
The Millie Man?
The Immelman. Immelman. Okay. All right, then let's turn to the right, and we'll do another one of those. We'll turn towards the east. All right, and we'll let the nose down 185 miles an hour. And there we go. All right, now pull back. Pull a little bit harder in the beginning here so we have our speed. Very good. Keep pulling, keep pulling. And now roll to the left. All right, good. All right, here, I'm going to demonstrate one. I want you to follow me through on the controls. Here, I've got the airplane. I'm going to point our nose to the east again. So when we come out, we should be heading towards the west. So here we go, nose down, 185. We're going to get a good pull going here in the beginning so we have our speed going over the top, and then we can relax just a little bit as we're going straight up. And then we're going to stop pulling back and then roll the airplane upright. Now we're heading towards the west. If we don't release that back pressure, then we're going to do a barrel roll and we're going to come out heading towards the north.
Okay.
All right, you ready? We'll do one more, then we got to head back. All right, so nose down 185. All right, there we go. Now pull harder. There you go, good. Now we can let up just a little bit as we're going up. And now stop pulling and roll left. Very good. Much, much better. See, now we got that heading right off the east.
Oh, yeah.
All right, good. Let's make a right turn. And let's let the nose down. Let the speed come up to about 180 miles an hour. We need to get down below 4,000 feet. And we'll keep coming around to the right here. There, that speed's good right there. And we'll head right for Horsehead. There we go. We want to be just below 4,000 feet right before we get to Horsehead. Like I said, Horsehead's a pretty big landmark for the pilots in this area, so there's lots of student pilots flying around. So you want to keep a pretty sharp eye out for them. You can see our normal cruise speed on this airplane is about 160 to 165 miles an hour.
Yeah, there's one dead at 12 o'clock.
All right. And we can keep this shallow descent all the way down to 3,000 feet. So what'd you think?
Oh, that was something right.
All right. She's a real treat of an airplane to fly.
Yeah, it is.
And like you found out, it's not what you expect. It looks like it's going to be a big, heavy airplane. But you get her in the air and it's just wonderful, harmonized, nice and light on the controls.
Yeah, nice and solid, doesn't it?
Yep. Yeah, that's why this is by far the most popular of all the World War II airplanes. There's about 600 of these still flying. I think the next most popular is probably the Mustang. There's about 150 of those.
Way more money.
Yeah. Well, you get a good used Texan for about $150,000. We burn on average about 30 gallons an hour. Maintenance is about like a light twin. The engines have about a 1,500 hour TBO, and they run about $35,000 to overhaul. So it's not far off from a big six-cylinder Lycoming or Continental cost you about that much to overhaul.
Yeah.
The parts for these airplanes are readily available. There's 2 or 3 companies that stockpiled parts and whatnot after World War II. Or actually in the 1950s and 60s when these airplanes were all sold as surplus. Alright, we'll continue on down to 2,000 feet now. I'm going to switch over to the control tower. We'll listen in.
For about 3 miles, you'll be following him to the field.
Give them a call here in a few minutes.
Kissimmee Tower, Cadet 746 Romeo Alpha with you 7 miles out.
746 Romeo Alpha, Kissimmee Tower, still landing runway 6.
Still landing runway 6, 746 Romeo Alpha.
See, at about 11 o'clock off in the distance, you can see the big silver ball sticking up. That's Epcot. And then, of course, the Disney properties are all out there, although they own much of the property even down towards this side of I-4, which Walt bought so that it would be preserved and kept in its natural state for future generations. So we can level off right here at 2.
Departure turn left heading 270, runway 6, clear for takeoff.
They still have a little restricted area over Disney.
Yeah, there's a permanent TFR over Disney. It goes up to 3,000 feet, unless you're talking to Orlando Approach, and then if they give it to you or give you headings, you can fly through it. Kissimmee Tower, Texan 1 is 9 miles to the southwest inbound.
Texan 1, Kissimmee Tower, report initial for runway 6.
Initial for 6, Texan 1. Alright, the airport's over at about 1 o'clock, just to the right of us.
2108 Lima, ready.
So we'll turn just a little bit more to the right.
Kissimmee Tower, left turn to the north, runway 6, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, then left turn to the north, 0 Lima.
There we go, right there. We'll hold that heading until we line up with the extended center line of the runway. And we can descend now down to 1,500 feet. And we're going to enter what's called the overhead brake approach. So we're going to come over the top of the runway, and then we're going to do a...
Contact Orlando departure 19.4.
We're going to be descending, doing a 360-degree descending approach, constantly turning rather than flying the downwind base and final, because just like on the ground, we can't make a straight-in approach because we can't see straight ahead in these airplanes. So by doing a curving approach, we keep that runway off to the side where we can see it all the way down to touchdown. It was an approach developed by the British when they were trying to land Corsairs on aircraft carriers, and then became the standard approach for our Navy as well. Alright, so we'll level off right here at 1,500. We'll keep flying straight until we line up with that runway. And the 1,500 feet puts us 500 feet above the Cessnas and Pipers flying their traffic pattern. You can see we got quite a bit more speed than they have.
Texan 1, Velocity Aerofly's got a rough running engine. Can I get you to do a right 360 and report back to initial? You'll be number 3 following him.
No problem, Texan 1. Alright, let's do a 360 to the right.
Velocity NC 800 Charlie Bravo, number 2 following Cherokee, clearly on runway 6. You can roll.
We can just do, yeah, that's fine for the bank angle. Let's do a nice big turn.
We'll do 360, clear line up to the traffic front, Charlie Bravo. Kissimmee Tower, Cadet 280, Foxtrot Tango, over the St. Pete inbound, full stop with numbers.
280 Foxtrot Tango, Kissimmee Tower, report 5 miles straight in for runway 6.
5 miles ready for 6, 280 Foxtrot Tango.
210 Lima, traffic 1 o'clock, 2 miles, orbiting is a Cessna at 1,100. Contact Orlando 119.4 for flight following northbound.
19.40 Lima, have a good one.
Have a good one. Section 1, that velocity is down to 600 feet. Now descending, you can down to 1,000 is approved. Make it a left brake. Your number 3, clear to land.
All right, number 3 with a left brake, clear to land, Texan 1. Yeah, there's the longies right there on final.
That velocity should be near 12 o'clock for about a mile out of 600.
Yeah, we got the experimental in sight for Texan 1.
Roger.
All right, now we'll just straighten out, fly straight over the top of the runway. And we can descend gently down to 1,000 feet.
Delta ground point 7746 Romeo Alpha.
All right, excellent. There's our 1,000 feet. Now we'll just fly straight. And you can see why flying a straight-in final approach would be difficult in this airplane.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can't see the runway from up there. From back here, I can barely see the airport. So we kind of use landmarks off to the side. And we'll fly right straight over the top of the runway, hold our altitude right here at 1,000.
That's the 800 Charlie Bravo. Roll it all the way out to the end. Right turn at the end. Contact.
Right there. I've got the airplane. Okay. And here we'll start our left brake. As we start the brake, we'll slow through 150. I'll bring the hydraulics on. We'll bring the power back. Bring the landing gear down. And we look through those little windows in the wing root. Verify that the gear is down and locked. And at 110, we'll bring the flaps down. She's got split flaps, so they only come out the bottom surface of the wing. And final check. Landing gear is down and locked. Flaps are down. Trims are set.
Departing for down.
Mixture is full rich.
That's your go, Roger. Altimeter 3015.
3015.
You see the two Mustangs in the run-up area there getting ready to go.
Oh. That land.
Texan 1, thanks for your help. Left around Delta. Contact ground point 7.
Texan 1. Morning ground, Texan 1's with you.
Texan 1, Kissimmee ground. TWA, Delta Charlie.
Delta Charlie, TWA, Texan 1.
Morning, Kissimmee ground, Cessna 1747 Lima.
Well, JR, there we go.
The numbers, like to taxi to run up.
That was great. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed that. Thank you very much for coming out and flying with us.
Cessna 1747 Lima, Kissimmee ground. Use caution in the run-up area there. Bravo, the altimeter.
It gives you an idea a little bit of what training was like in these airplanes during World War II.
And copy that, and we'll...
The primary things they were teaching in this airplane were the aerobatics, and then the next thing was formation flying. Because that was a big part of combat flying. whether you were a fighter pilot or a bomber pilot. And then as well as the aerial gunnery with the 30 calibers they had mounted on these, and bombing and the rocketry, which were also mounted on the hard points on the wings on these airplanes.
Pacific Ground, Cessna 69226 at CAS, taxi Euroflight.
Cessna 69226, Pacific Ground taxi, Euroflight via taxiway Alpha and Bravo, cross runway 15 on Bravo.
Taxi Euroflight via Alpha and Bravo, cross 15 on Bravo, 69226.
Pacific Ground, Cessna 174 Lima, we're going to hold here at Euroflight, wait for the Mustangs. That's okay, towards Lima.
That'll be fine.
Kissimmee Ground, Cessna 23868, sun state with the numbers for a southwest departure.
Cessna 23868, Kissimmee Ground, taxi runway 6 via taxiway Alpha, Bravo, hold short runway 6 on Alpha.
Taxi to 6, Alpha Bravo, hold shorter 6 on Alpha 23868.
All right, there we go.